I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars ain't...
What's good? We're going to get into AEW Dynamite from April the 29th, 2026. This was a weird and bizarre show. There were bizarre booking decisions that took place on this show, which is very, very odd to me. I still think that Tony Khan's just throwing stuff at the wall for right now until we get to Double or Nothing. So I don't expect for things to change until probably the second week in May, because then I think he has about 3 weeks to build to Double or Nothing, because Double or Nothing is in late May. So we'll probably have one more week of nonsensical booking decisions by him, and then from there he'll begin to start booking, I would say, more watchable Dynamites. So I think that's probably what he'll end up doing anyway, more than likely. So there are rumors going around that Tony Khan is trying to sign the Motor City Machine Guns when their 90-day compete clauses are up, which he more than likely will. I think he'll offer them so much money that they can't turn it down. And to me, that's fine. I don't think that they should permanently stay with AEW. I feel like they should do maybe about 2 years with AEW and then come back to TNA and retire there, and to be inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame. So I think that's what they should do, is just go to AEW, make some money, work with FTR and the Bucks, Edge and Christian, those guys. So yeah, that's fine. And I wouldn't be shocked if we see Kairi Sane show up in AEW around All In. I do think she will more than likely go to Stardom and go there for a while, and then I'm pretty sure Tony Khan's going to give her a call and offer her a bunch of money to where she can't turn it down, and she'll end up joining AEW, which to me is fine. I feel like when WWE did those 24 releases last week, the only three that they should get are the Motor City Machine Guns and Kairi Sane, right? Everybody else should basically go to TNA. I know you have Aleister Black and Zelina Vega in that bunch, but I feel Aleister does not need to go back to AEW. I feel like he will be better off in TNA, and that's kind of like what him and Zelina Vega should do, especially since Aleister Black probably wants to be a world champion. He wouldn't be able to do that in AEW. It's too many top guys, and I doubt if he wants to go into the mid-card and stay there. So, and then also, I don't think the House of Black are going to really ever reunite. Like, if Aleister were to go there, that's what they would try to do, is to reunite the House of Black. When you got Brody King doing single stuff, and when Buddy Matthews gets back from injury, he'll probably want to do single stuff as well. So I do think Aleister Black's best option is to go to TNA, him and Zelina Vega. That would be their best option, to pull a Nick Namath and a Mustafa Ali. So I think that would be great for them. Overall, though, Dynamite was kind of weird, though. It was weird. It was. All right, so we're going to get into the show. We kicked the show off with the first match of the night. Kevin Knight defeats MJF to retain the TNT Championship. This was very odd to me. Odd as shit. Why? Because this match should have been like a no contest or a DQ. None of that happened at all. So this match was pretty good. So MJF took control early on. He beat up Kevin Knight, threw him into the steps a couple times. He ended up powerbombing him on the barricade. I forgot what body part he worked on. He worked on the leg of Kevin Knight throughout the match, which was good. Kevin Knight was able to hit the UFO splash. MJF kicked out of that. Then MJF continued to work on the leg of Kevin Knight. And he began to get frustrated. So he goes out and tries and grabs the AEW World title. He brings it into the ring. The referee yanks it away from MJF. Then MJF puts on the Dynamite Diamond Ring. He tries to hit Kevin with it, but Kevin Knight, he dodges it. He hits a low blow, and then he rolls up MJF via a small package for the 1, 2, 3, and that was the match. And I'm like, what the hell? This was dumb. This was stupid. This was absolutely stupid. So you had MJF put over Kevin Knight. This makes MJF look like a fool. It makes him look like a fool. This is dumb. This was dumb. You had MJF lose, which is fine, but he didn't need to lose to Kevin Knight in like a pinfall or submission fashion. It should have been like a double count out or a DQ or something like that. That's what the finish should have been. But it didn't work out like that. I mean, it is what it is. It's fine. What's done is done. There's nothing that can be done about it. But again, this was not a good booking decision by Tony Khan. This was quite awful. So, post-match, MJF was about to attack Kevin Knight some more, but Darby Allin, he descended from the rafters, and he dropped MJF with the Scorpion Deathlock. So MJF rolls out the ring. He said that the crowd sucks. He said that Darby and Kevin Knight are both low-life cheaters. He said the match against Kevin Knight doesn't count because he was barely trying. All he cares about is the AEW World title. And he wants Darby to give him his rematch. Darby said he's not going to give it to him until he puts something on the line. He said if he retains against Brody, he knows who deserves a title shot next week, and that's going to be Kevin Knight. Then Brody King, he showed up. He got into the face of MJF, and then he grabbed the mic, and he told Kevin Knight that he's going to be facing him next week because he's going to win the AEW World title tonight. Okay, that's fine there, I guess. Whatever. Moving on, then we get a brief video package of the history between Brody King and Darby Allin, which I liked. That was pretty cool. Moving on from that, this leads us into Edge and Christian. They had a backstage interview with Renee Paquette. Christian's arm is still banged up from being assaulted. I think that happened about 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Can't remember, but I think it was like 3 weeks ago. So Renee Paquette, she asked Christian how his arm felt. He said it was fine. She asked if they accept FTR's challenge to an I Quit street fight. Christian said they accept. Edge said that was quick considering his history with I Quit matches. Christian said he didn't quit, and then he stormed off. Edge told Renee with a very weird smile that Christian definitely said I quit. And then he added and said that he won't say it again. Okay, that's fine. It is what it is. I like this. Again, this brings up the Edge and Christian history of them feuding. So I like that. Again, I still have a feeling that they're probably going to end up adding the Young Bucks into this match at some point. They're not going to leave the Bucks off of Double or Nothing. That's not going to happen. So I really don't see that happening at all, period. So I do like that stipulation. I do. I think that's great. But I feel like they are going to add the Young Bucks. More than likely. Moving on. The Brawling Birds, Jamie Hayter and Alex Windsor, they defeat enhancement talent Jordan Blade and Emily J. Okay, there's that. Who cares? I didn't even really watch this. Moving on. Tekla, she's cutting a backstage promo. Her and Sky Blue. Tekla says that people keep asking why she refers to so many women as dumb bitches. She said it's because there's so many dumb bitches around, which is true. Which is true, especially in AEW. Sky Blue said what happened to Persephone was the fault of Windsor and Jamie Hayter, but getting missed in the face was the best thing that happened to her, and it might be for Persephone too. Tekla said she's everything and they are nothing. Okay, that is fine there. I like that. Tekla is great. She's tremendous. She kicks ass. But who is she going to be facing going into Double or Nothing? Like, who is going to be her opponent? Who? And that's the weird part. Like, Tony Khan has built nobody up to go after Tekla. Nobody. Like, you've got Jamie Hayter in the tag team division. Statlander, same thing. And Tekla's already beaten those two women. So, who do you have that's worthwhile? And you want to make Double or Nothing the biggest you possibly can, the biggest show you possibly can until you get to All In. So you want to, because Double or Nothing is one of their strongest one of their stronger pay-per-views, really. It's like their big four. So I don't know what they do. I don't know who's going to be her opponent. It could be whether they're doing like maybe a fatal four-way of some sort, maybe. Chris Statlander, Tekla, Jamie Hayter, and somebody else, maybe. I don't know. Alex Windsor. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do like a multi-woman match at Double or Nothing, maybe. I hope that's not the case because you guys know I can't stand fatal four-ways and triple threats, but that might be what could happen. That's a possibility, which I hope I'm wrong, but Double or Nothing is in basically a month's time. You got 4 weeks to build it. You gotta do something. All right, moving on. Kazuchika Okada defeats Ace Austin. He retains the International Championship. So this match was fun. I'm a fan of Ace Austin. Ace Austin got a ton of offense in this match, and he looked very good. He ended up doing a flying famouser off the top rope, which was great. Ace Austin is tremendous. So Okada ends up winning via the Rainmaker. So that's fine there. It is what it is. So there's that. I just hate that Ace Austin is saddled to the sack of shit known as Juice Robinson. I have no idea why Ace Austin is still doing Bang Bang Gang stuff, aka Bullet Club stuff. It makes no sense, dude. Ace Austin, in my opinion, he would have been better off going to NXT. I think that would have been better for him, honestly, if we're being honest. But it is what it is. At least he was on Dynamite, and at least he got some TV time. So good stuff there. Moving on. This leads us into a vignette. We got a cinematic style vignette. It was the Wild Wild West theme. So there were some guys who were laid out, and they were bloody on the street. A man ran up, and another mysterious figure walked out. He picked up a wanted poster, and it was for Bandito. So the mystery person was revealed to be Swerve Strickland. He set the wanted poster on fire with a gun lighter that Prince Nana handed to him. So this is fine, but why isn't Swerve going after the world title, right? Like, Swerve's been gone for about maybe a month or two. About a month and a half. We haven't seen Swerve in about at least a month. And why is he going after Bandito? This makes no sense. Swerve should be going after the main title, the world title, right? Darby's world champion. He's not going to be for long, but that's where Swerve should be, in my opinion. I mean, him just feuding with Bandito makes no sense. I'm a fan of both Swerve and Bandito. Both those guys kick ass and rule. But I don't like this. I really don't like this. I don't. And there's no way that they can carry this thing to Double or Nothing. It's not going to have enough legs on it. So, I don't know. I mean, because this is something that you could do on like a Dynamite or a Collision. Well, mainly a Dynamite. I mean, because that on Double or Nothing, I don't know about that. I really don't. Moving on, we get another odd, weird booking decision in the form of Will Ospreay basically joining the Death Riders, which is weird. So, the Death Riders are in their dojo or whatever, and they're beating up jobbers and stuff. And so, Daniel Garcia told the camera this is how they train. So, Will Ospreay shows up. Jon Moxley said, look, who showed up? He's arrived. Jon Moxley asked Will Ospreay if he was cleared. Ospreay said he hasn't been, but it won't stop him from going over to Japan, where his boys have a big title match. Jon Moxley said, loyalty, you're too good to be true. Mox poked Pac in the belly and laughed, and then turned back to Will Ospreay. Moxley told him that he would need him to drop everything that clouds his vision and makes him see things aren't there. He said anything that tugs at his heartstrings, excess baggage, he said. We don't need it. Jon Moxley said his feelings about him, drop it. Jon Moxley said they make no promises nor produce miracles, but when he commits to something, he sees it to the end. He said all he asked is the same in return from Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay said okay, and Mox said beautiful. So Ospreay then asked where the ring was. Jon Moxley said they don't have a ring. We're starting from the ground up. Jon Moxley said, and then Claudio takes off his shirt. Jon Moxley says the rest is priority. And he pushed the cameras away. This makes no sense at all. What in the fuck are they doing? Aren't Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay bitter rivals? This makes no sense unless they're going to do the Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt thing that they did in WWE years ago, where Bryan joined the Wyatt family and ended up turning on the Wyatts in said match, in that cage match years ago. So it could be something like that, but we don't know at this point in time. But this is weird as fuck to me. This is weird as fuck. I don't get it. Again, I hope they do the Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt thing. I hope that's where this is leading. I hope. But we don't fucking know. Moving on. This leads us into Edge and Christian. They defeat Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta. I didn't watch this match. Fuck this shit. Apparently, during the match, the conglomeration, they came out and they got into FTR's faces and stuff like that and threw popcorn. So, Edge and Christian, they get the win. This thing went way too long. I mean, I didn't watch it at all, but this thing should have been a squash match. But since it's AEW, everybody has to be 50-50, and this thing probably went about a good 15 minutes. So Edge wins via the spear. Post-match, Christian goes out and grabs a chair from the barricade. He gives it to Edge. He breaks off one of the chair legs. Edge then chokes out Trent Beretta. So Christian told Trent Beretta to say he quit. Trent Beretta says that he quits. And Christian called him a little bitch and said that he would never quit. So there's that. Whatever. I don't care about this at all. Moving on, Chris Jericho was being interviewed by Renee Paquette. They're still calling him Jericho for whatever reason. She asked if the Rico salt is better than the lion salts. Jericho said imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but when he's pissed off, he's not flattered. So he said Ricochet hadn't been following his career closely. So then Jericho gets beat up by the Gates of Agony. They beat him up. And Ricochet wants Chris Jericho to leave. He told him to leave or he's going to get hurt. He asked if that's what he wanted. Jericho told him to eat shit. And then Ricochet tore off Jericho's shirt. And then the Gates of Agony, they threw him into some crates. So, whatever. I don't care about this shit. This is lame. This shit sucks. Moving on. The Divine Dominion, or whatever they're called, they defeated Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida. So Megan Bayne and Lena Cross ended up winning. It is what it is. Whatever. Chris Statlander needs to leave AEW immediately. There's nothing more she can do. I want her to go to NXT or go to TNA. I don't care which. Get her out of AEW. Get her out. There's nothing more she can do. Nothing more. Moving on. Andrade and Don Callis, they're backstage. So MJF barged in and he blamed Andrade for everything falling apart. Andrade asked how he knows over and over and over again. So MJF shoves Andrade. Andrade shoves MJF. So Don Callis told Andrade that he's his money man. And he said business is business. He said Andrade doesn't have a belt. Andrade doesn't have a belt. And MJF needs to get said belt back. He said they're all better off if they are winning. He told him to focus on business. MJF turned and left. And then that was it. So, whatever. And then Don Callis called them both wild horses and said that they're going to run. What are you going to do? This is dumb. It seems like they need to turn Andrade babyface. They really do. He needs to leave the Don Callis family pronto. So, I don't know. Maybe this leads us into an MJF Andrade match at Double or Nothing. Maybe. That could possibly happen, but I don't know. Moving on from that, this leads us into Roosh. He defeated a jobber. So he wins. And then he got on the mic. He cut an intense promo in Spanish. And then he said, when you mess with the bull, you get the horns. So this is fine. I like this. Then this leads us to another weird booking decision by the Ops. So apparently they've added Anthony Bowens to the ranks. I'm like, what the hell? And then Samoa Joe's talking about they want to reinsert their dominance in AEW and all that jazz. And then he addressed Will Ospreay. He warned him about the Death Riders and said they took him out of a bad situation with them in the past. He asked if he wanted a relationship of convenience or competence. He said the Ops are there and the choice is his. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This too is dumb. This is retarded. This is retarded. Oh my god, this is so dumb. So fucking dumb. Moving on. So Stokely and the FTR, they were backstage. Basically, Stokely said he went into Tony Khan's office. And it's going to be Orange Cassidy versus Dax Harwood next week. And if by some chance Orange Cassidy wins, it's going to be for the Trios Championships at some point in time. But it's not going to be him. So Tommaso Ciampa walked up and said, they're taking the Trios titles. And he bragged about putting Mark Briscoe on the shelf. So, there's that. Whatever. I don't give a fuck about this shit. Whatever. Main event of the evening, Darby Allin defeats Brody King to retain the AEW World Championship. My bad. MJF and Kevin Knight were watching. So Kevin Knight was in the crowd watching. and MJF was watching backstage. Match was fine. Darby did Darby things. Brody King did Brody King things. They tried to do the code red, breaking the announce table spot, and it didn't break, so there's that. Darby ends up tearing apart the padding on the barricade, padding on the floor. He ends up doing a sit-down powerbomb on the floor. Then he did a coffin drop to Brody. He threw Brody back into the ring and did 2 more coffin drops, 1, 2, 3, and then Darby wins, and then that was the show. Okay. All right. Again, this stuff is weird to me. What are we doing with Samoa Joe? Why is he with the Ops still? Samoa Joe should be looking to get back the world title. He doesn't need the Ops. Fuck the Ops. What are we doing with Swerve? Why is he feuding with Bandito? Swerve should be in that world title scene, right? I get it, you want to do off-title feuds and stuff like that. That's fine. But why is Swerve feuding with Bandito? That makes no sense. I like what they're doing with FTR and Edge and Christian. I really do. But I feel like they're going to add the Young Bucks into that. So that's going to probably be a triple threat match. I don't know. Oh, I forgot to mention that Takeshita came out to confront Okada. So, there's that. He had to stare down with him. So, whatever. Another weird booking decision. What the fuck are they doing with Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley? That's weird to me. What are they doing? This makes no sense, man. It makes no sense. This is odd to me. Why do you have Will Ospreay trying to align with the Death Riders? Again, unless they're doing some Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt stuff from years ago, that's the only thing I can make of this. But other than that's weird. But this show was fucking weird to me, for the most part. I get what they're doing, but at the same time, I don't get what they're doing, because it's weird. Because Tony Khan really didn't have any plans for Double or Nothing. He only has 2 matches booked so far. We don't know what's going to happen at Double or Nothing between Darby and MJF. We don't know. They could very well do like a fatal 4-way match or a triple threat match. Kevin Knight, Darby Allin, Brody King. Well, yeah, I could see them doing like a fatal 4-way match maybe at Double or Nothing. Maybe that's how MJF wins it back. I don't know, man. But it is what it is. But what do you guys think of Dynamite? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.